With the next Mario Kart game on the way, we can finally get our hype on and speculate what will be included in the next game. It's been 11 years since the last mainline Mario Kart, and we've gotten a spin-off in Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, and whatever you consider Tour to be. So there's a lot of ideas that can be incorporated in the next Mario Kart. Not just from those two Mario Kart games though, but through 11 years of video game releases. Hey everybody, it's Jahanian, and let's talk about my hopes for the next Mario Kart. Before we start, let me just say that this is not me speculating the next main mechanic for the game, just features I want the next Mario Kart to have. I'm also not going to add basic things like new characters and new items since we're already most likely going to get those. I'll also order these based on how likely I think they are to be added, but I feel like most of the ones at the bottom could be swapped around in any which way. But before we get onto that, real quick, I have a little announcement to make. If you don't know me, I'm a Mario Kart speedrunner. I speedrun every Mario Kart game. On February 9th, I'll be racing through every Mario Kart with 5 others, including the world record holder. So if you're American and don't want to watch the most generic two teams play in the Super Bowl, or if you're not American and have better taste in sports, come watch. I'll be live at 12 PM EST. My Twitch is linked in the description. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get on to it. First up, we have new racing modes. Mario Kart has never had different game modes for racing, and I think it's about time to shake things up. With Battle Royales as popular as they are, and now that we'll have 24 racers, I think a knockout mode will be the best idea for a mode. Every lap, a few people are knocked out of the race until eventually only one racer remains. I can imagine racers who are knocked out will be able to play as ghosts like in Mario Kart DS, giving edge to other racers or sabotaging them. But another thing are online modes. Aside from tournaments, I think it'd be fun to add things like team rally events on Tour. If you don't know what team rally events were, every now and then in Tour there would be a tour themed around 2 characters. You choose one of the characters to fight for, collect tokens, and win races for them. If you're familiar with Splatoon, they're basically Splatfest. Also, you're probably about to see my love for Splatoon come out in this video. I can see them not doing this because how stale it might get only doing characters, and they get too similar to Splatfest if they did themes outside of Mario, but I think this could be a fun way to shake up online races without changing too much. Having dynamic weather and times of day would make the tracks feel so much more alive and vibrant. I don't necessarily mean them changing throughout the track like Sunset Wilds, but more like Animal Crossing, where every now and then you'll get a different weather condition or time of day than the normal one. I do still want tracks to have their own identity and have a default mode and weather conditions be rare. Like for example, GBA Luigi Circuit, a track that's normally raining, could have thunderstorms on rare occasions. Or a nighttime track like Shy Guy Bazaar could have meteor showers in the background. I also want these to be purely visual and not change things like the tracks and their hazards. Or it could be like Overwatch 2, where the time of day on stages change every few months. I hope that's the only thing they retain from Overwatch 2. We don't need a battle pass or anything. But if we were to get some kind of battle pass, what could you even put in there? Up next, I think cosmetics would be a fun thing to add in Mario Kart. Who doesn't love customization options? Tour added alternate costumes for characters, which I think would be awesome to add, and more could even be added over time through DLC. I think being able to change the banner you see in loading screens between online races would be a neat touch too. Maybe adding stickers to your favorite cart could also be an option. I can imagine these being purchasable in a shop with coins, incentivizing you to keep on playing and getting more coins, buy cards, costumes, and more. Nintendo's usually good about not adding microtransactions to the games, so I don't think it's just a mobile game, don't think too hard about it. So I don't think they'd have a paid battle pass. If anything, it'd be like Splatoon 3's catalog, which honestly, I still don't want. A shop is fine, I don't think we need to add more to it. Every now and then we get tracks that are somewhat connected to one another, whether it be theming, naming convention, or even location, like Dry Dry Desert to Dry Dry Ruins, and I want more of those. One of my favorite tracks in 8 is Sunshine Airport, but something I would want more out of an airport level is being in the terminal rather than out on the runway. Splatoon 3 also fumbled this with the airport level. So how about a track called Sunshine Terminal, where we go through the security lines, avoid trains on the monorail, drive through the terminal, and then loop back by going into the roller coaster room that the check bags go through, like Toy Story 2. And maybe we can even see Sunshine Airport in the background too. Which is another thing. I want an interconnected world where we could see other tracks from the one we're racing on. Double Dash had this a lot, and 8 even had a reference to Koopa Troopa Beach in Sunshine Airport, another reason why I like that track. The world feels so much more alive when you see references to other tracks or even other games. Mario Kart Tour added 2 new variants for tracks, T for tricks and R for reverse, and reverse tracks are by far the coolest thing added to Tour and something I want in the next game so bad. Peach Gardens in the Boost Course Pass was just a glimpse at what we could have. We've been stuck with the same 4 modes for Grand Prix since Mario Kart 64. We may have gotten an extra mode in 200cc and 8, but it's still only upping the speed. Turning a track backwards is way cooler than Mirror Mode or 200cc. If there's anything I want for the next Mario Kart that's not as outrageous as like divorced parents getting back together, it's this. I know this one is a hot take, but I think the city tracks are some of the most fun and interesting tracks in the series. Basing them on real life locales makes them incredibly interesting, and switching the layout every lap always keeps you on your toes. I would love new locations like Beijing. Driving along the Great Wall of China would be so cool. Or how about Chicago? When I visited Chicago, I vividly remember the walk from Shed Aquarium to the Bean, mainly because my friend found a scarf on the ground and wore it. I think he still owns it. But anyway, I think that part would be a cool spot to add in Chicago track, or the upper rails of the CTA. Okay, maybe I just really want to see the Bean. Venice would be another cool track. Oh, I meant Venice, Italy, not Venice, Florida. Thank you. We could drive over or in the canal, or maybe the water level could change every lap, opening paths or closing some. The possibilities are endless with city tracks. With how negative the city tracks tend to be received, I don't expect them to make a return, and it might just stay as a tourist thing. With how competitive Mario Kart is now more than ever, I think a ranked mode would be a great addition. I know Mario Kart has your versus rating as a way to place you in lobbies, but I think a dedicated rank would be a better way to tell the skill of other players around you. Or have the two be separate, one for casual and one for competitive. If there are different racing game modes, we could have them be random or on rotation like Splatoon. Because how luck-based Mario Kart is, they may not add this, but I think a lot of competitive Mario Kart players would enjoy this. This is one of 3 Nintendo games that Nintendo constantly has official tournaments of, and it's the only one that doesn't have a ranked mode, so I think it would be a coin flip on whether this gets in or not. I think this backpedals on the idea of ranked just a bit, but team racing would be a great addition. While they already have teams and versus modes, they've never really been too in-depth. I hope they take some inspiration from Team Sonic Racing, where you can see the placements of your fellow teammates, their items, and your score is calculated based on who wins. And now with 24 racers, we could see up to 12 teams compete, or even 4, 6, or 8. I know there are already unofficial team races, so I think this would be a great addition for those who compete at teams, as well as give you options for friendly fire and such. I think this one is obvious, I want a story mode. I mentioned this in the video before, but it's what Mario Kart needs to reinvent itself. A lot of Nintendo series got their big, new, redefining game in their series on Nintendo Switch, and this is what Mario Kart needs to match that. In all honesty, Mario Kart doesn't need this, it'll be successful either way. Ideally, we'd get a game with a hub world you could drive around in and discover secrets, do races, missions, or even fight bosses, like Diddy Kong Racing. In reality, you'd probably get something to a classic Mario level select or mission mode on DS. I think one thing they could do is have it like Mario Superstar Baseball, where you choose a character and they have their own mini-story and objectives to complete. Even if the story is bare, it's a good deal of single-player content. On the topic of single-player content, this game needs more. Grand Prix is whatever. Even if they add a reverse mode, I would still want more. If they don't have a story mode, a mission mode would be almost as good. I brought up the idea of points and combos returning from Tour as a mode like Time Trials, where you're trying to get the most points around a track and compare with others around the world. They could also bring back something like the Mario Kart channel and have cool competitions or tournaments. If you have any ideas for more single-player content, let me know in the comments below. On the topic of single-player content, let's go ahead and talk about my final hope for the next Mario Kart and probably the most outrageous thing they could add. Track Creator. That's it. I know it's too outlandish to be added in as a side mode, but a Johankin dream, right? With how big custom tracks are now more than ever, an official custom track maker would be awesome. I think the reason it'll never be added is that it's too ambitious. I think there's so much to add and so much to think about that any little Timmy out there wouldn't... I forgot I wrote that. To any little Timmy out there, it'll be too much to figure out. If they could simplify it to the level of Mario Maker, then it could work, but then it would never even come close to being as good as any other unofficial custom track. But anyway, those are just my thoughts, and now I want to hear some of yours. Are there any other reasonable or wacky ideas you want in the next Mario Kart? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. Speculating the next Mario Kart is just the beginning, so I'm more than excited to see what comes from it. If you want to see more of me, check out my Blue Sky and my Twitch. Again, all Mario Kart race on February 9th, you don't want to miss it. They're both linked below. And consider subscribing to me so you keep up to date with all things Mario Kart 9. I've been Johanny, and you have a good one. Peace.